Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Today's actually the day before Thanksgiving. It is Wednesday, which means I am off work, and that means an excuse to come and ride. While the streets are relatively open, you can see I am actually downtown right now, and there's really not that many cars around, not too many people. It is still early in the morning, but I feel like most people are still at work, and so of course, any chance to get out on the bike when the weather is nice and there's less cars on the road is fantastic. So yeah, I'm out just enjoying a nice morning cruise here on the Ducati. Today I'm going over to the beach, maybe grab some Starbucks, because I love Starbucks. I know, it's terrible, it's expensive, way overpriced, but I do love it. 3, 2, 1, go. Nope. Try again. 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, go. Ah, missed it. That's okay. Here we go. So I'm here at one of my favorite places in the world, Starbucks, and this one in particular because it's right here on Fort Lauderdale Beach, which means that right out the window I can see the ocean, absolutely gorgeous view. I can see my bike right out the window, so it's just the perfect spot to be. It's like 70 degrees, it's beautiful weather the day before Thanksgiving, so the traffic is minimal. People are still at work, but I happen to be off. And so it's been a great morning. And viewers of my channel are very familiar with the bike I'm riding today, my 2019 Ducati Scramble Desert Sled, which is a great bike, a great all-around bike. It does everything I ever ask of it. But really long-time viewers of the channel might know that I actually have another bike. I have a 1980 Honda CB650 Cafe Racer that I actually bought back in 2018. So I've now owned it for over 3 years. And it has never ran in that time. I bought it as a huge project bike. I think I made a video about it like a year and a half ago, kind of explaining the situation. So you can go back and watch that video. I will link it in the description box below. I've gotten it very close to being done, but I've never actually been able to finish it, mostly because I have been unable to find carburetors for it. And the carburetors that I had were basically broken. They just needed to be replaced. But finally last month I found carburetors for the bike, and so today when I get home I'm going to tackle that project and get those on. Once I get those carburetors on, a new clutch cable on the bike, and possibly new spark plugs, the bike should run, and I'm going to be super excited to take my first ride on the bike. So stick around and enjoy today's video. I always just find myself back filming at this table. I guess it's just the best space I have. But anyway, before I get into the carburetors that I bought, I want to talk a little bit about my experience trying to find some, because getting carburetors has really been holding me back from getting the bike running for quite a while now. So when I bought the bike, I thought the carburetors were pretty decent, but once I was kind of going through everything, I realized that they were missing screws here and there. Some of the I don't know all the technical terms. Some of the like flaps inside the cards were missing to actually, you know, let the air in or close off the openings. Those were missing. Some of the like spring mechanisms were working. The connection part for the throttle cable was not good. So anyway, I thought, oh, I'll just find some used ones. No big deal. You know, it's an old Japanese bike. These carbs have got to be around for a dime a dozen. Well, that turns out to not be true. When you do find carbs, they're about in the same condition as the ones I already had, and people are charging several $100s for them. The company CR, they make racing carbs. They have a set, but they're like $1,000, and I was not about to spend $1,000 on carburetors for this bike, especially because I've never even had this bike running, so I don't even know. There could be other issues that I don't know about. So I could not find any, and this has literally been like a year and a half of me trying to figure out carburetors for this bike, and that's not me searching all the time, but yeah, it's just been impossible for me to find some. One day on a whim, I just happened to search again, and I found a company called Murray's Carburetors, and they're actually based right out of where I am actually from, my hometown in North Carolina. They're just outside of it. And so I don't know how I missed this company before. They were $600 for a set for the CB650, and so I'm excited to finally get those on the bike. So let's go ahead and unbox them. Ha, psych, this is just coffee creamer. How could you fall for that though? The box isn't even big enough. Well, here it is, guys, my 1980 Honda CB650 Cafe Racer, and I don't want to spend that long going over the bike because I already made a whole video on it that I will link in the description box below, just like I mentioned earlier, but I will give you a couple basics really quick. So basically 3 years ago, I did purchase this bike and it looked like a complete wreck. I'll put a picture up right here. Yeah, it looked like trash. It did not run, the wiring harness had been fried, tons of stuff wrong with the bike, and I decided that I was gonna undertake that as a project, which was honestly a huge mistake. So before I tell you why purchasing this bike was a huge mistake, let me get into the background. So I did purchase the bike 3 years ago as my first motorcycle, and I just really wanted something cool that would be pretty cheap and that I could ride and just enjoy. And I thought that a cafe racer project was gonna be really awesome. I was super into cafe racers at the time, and I just wanted my own. And I thought it would be way cooler to build my own than to buy one that somebody else had put together themselves. And when you're buying a bike that somebody else has done, you never really know the history of the bike and everything. When I bought it, the electronics were completely fried. The guy had basically like reversed polarity to the battery for the wiring harness or something, completely fried out the electrics. The starter clutch was also broken, and that is what I knew about the bike, and that was pretty much it. Now, I did get a decent deal on the bike, but at the end of the day, the money I've put into it, it's definitely cost me more than what it's worth, and so buying it was a huge mistake. But mistakes happen, and now I have this bike, and I really do love the way it looks. I'm super excited to get it running and be able to ride it. Hopefully these carburetors fix the problems that I'm having getting it running, and hopefully all it needs is those and the clutch cable. I also have to replace this grip, I think, from getting left in the heat. It started to actually melt, so I do have new grips to put on it as well. But I've talked long enough. Let's go ahead and try to get those carburetors on and get this thing started. All right, so I went ahead and got the old throttle and the grip off, went ahead and took the tank off as well. I will say one thing I expected was that these carbs would already be put together. I didn't really expect to have to assemble them, but that's okay. It wasn't really that hard to do. It didn't take too long, just a little bit of effort. Another thing I was also surprised about is that it didn't come with the boots to fit onto like the actual engine, the rubber carb boots that should go here. It did not come with those on the new carb set. Luckily, I still have the old ones, so not a huge deal. All right, guys, well, I've been fighting with this for a little while now, and they don't fit. The battery box back here is actually in the way of these air filters fitting, and these were made for this engine and everything, so I'm not really sure why they're not fitting. I might just need to mess with them a little bit more, but yeah, I might have to do that kind of off camera because this is kind of a pain in the neck. But yeah, so you can kind of see that they're too long to be able to fit. Now, the only thing that might be able to happen is like once they're on, they might fit, but to get them actually installed, I may have to take the battery off first. So I'm gonna try that, I guess, and see if I can get them on. The issue that I'm having with the carbs not fitting is probably not the company's fault. They make two sets of carbs for the 650, one for years 79 and 80, and one for years 80 to 81. And that's because in those years, there were different frame sizes. And as I mentioned in my video revealing this bike on the channel, my bike is kind of a Frankenstein bike. The engine is from an 81 Honda CB650, which is the carbs I ordered, but my frame is actually from a 1980. And so because of that issue, I think that's why they're not matching up. so I've now taken the battery box out the battery out. The battery box is still there, but now it's loose, so I think I can make the carbs fit now. Hopefully once I get the carbs in, I can then put the battery box back on. So I now actually have the carburetors in and the fuel lines hooked up, which was like probably the worst part of this whole thing, is getting the fuel lines hooked up. So now I guess I'll put the gas tank on and hook the fuel line up from the gas tank, and then I'll try to worry about putting this battery box back in. So after taking out the battery box and then putting the carbs on, I actually did have the clearance I need. You can see it's very close. This air filter is basically right up against the battery box. Fuel line is all hooked up, although a little janky. That's okay. All I want to see is this thing start. All that's left now is to hook up the throttle cable that came with the new carbs. Well, unfortunately, guys, I'm gonna have to pick this project up tomorrow because while I was doing the work, I kind of took out like some rusty screws and stuff that I found, and I'm soaking them overnight in some solution so that hopefully the rust will come off. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow and hopefully get this project finished up. All right, so it's the next day now, and for some reason I can never seem to get a video filmed in one day. I always run into something, but I was soaking all those screws and stuff overnight to get the rust off of them. So now they're all good and everything's installed back again. The throttle is here, the carbs are in, everything should be ready to go. I'm not putting the new grips on yet because this is actually not the throttle that the carbs came with. It's actually my old one, but the new throttle tube would not fit into the assembly I had, so I do have to kind of fix that. Maybe order a new throttle assembly, but that's okay. So we're now gonna see if it starts. The only thing is this battery has been sitting for a long time and I was dumb and didn't disconnect it. So the battery might not start again, but we're gonna give it a shot. Ooh, well, the light was really weak, so not a good sign. The battery might be dead. Kind of weird, there's like a choke. It's kind of hard to reach, actually. Okay, they're on. Let's just see. I don't think this thing has any power at all, but nope, nothing. All right, well, very disappointing that I couldn't get everything done on the bike, but honestly, I knew there was a chance the battery would not work. It has been sitting for a year, like I mentioned, so not super surprising. But I can't get a new battery today because today is Thanksgiving, so I can't really go out and get a new battery today. That's gonna have to wait till tomorrow. So I don't wanna leave you guys hanging, so I am going to get the battery and include it in this video. Even though I do want to get this video out to you guys as soon as possible because it is kind of Thanksgiving themed. But anyway, I'll get the battery tomorrow and try to start up the bike then. But for now, go ahead and enjoy this footage of my day today and all the food we enjoyed. We decided to come out Black Friday shopping, which was a mistake because there's no parking places anywhere. But we did the basic thing and bought a new TV. So where you have to pick it up from Best Buy, but we were like, let's go to the mall while we're over there. That'll be fun. It took us an hour, but we found a spot. And now we're never ever leaving this mall. We live here now. Well, now we're on day 3 of this video, and 3 days isn't that bad. I've been waiting to get this bike running for 3 years, but yeah, so of course yesterday was Thanksgiving, so like I mentioned, I was not able to go get a new battery, but I was talking to my dad and to my wife about it, and they were both like, why don't you just go get a battery charger and try that before you go buy a new battery, which worked out well because the battery charger was about the same price. And of course, yesterday was Thanksgiving, so I couldn't go get one anyway, but I looked on Amazon and was actually able to overnight one to my house. So I had the battery on the battery charger all day long, and it should be all charged up now and ready to go. Hopefully that's all this thing needs to run. But like I mentioned, there's a strong possibility this thing needs new spark plugs as well. So let's see. I've been waiting on this moment for 3 years. Hopefully it finally works. All right, I've been waiting on this moment for so long. So let's put the key in and try to turn it on. All right, at least I actually have power today, so that means the battery's good and the charger worked. So yeah, I'm really nervous trying to turn this on. Let me turn on the gas. I'm scared the fuel's gonna leak out. Like if I did something wrong with the carbs. A lot of people being loud outside, sorry about that. All right, fuel is on. Nothing seems to be leaking. I'm gonna make sure the chokes are on the carburetors. Again. Kind of a weird setup. I feel like turning these chokes off is gonna be kind of hard once the engine's running. It was a little warmer. This thing also still needs a seat that actually goes on the bike, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. All right, without further ado, I've been waiting on this moment for so long. Let's see it. Hopefully it works. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. Really loud, but it runs. Yes. Oh my gosh. Literally for like 3 years I've been waiting on that to work. I really want to like let it keep going, but it was so loud. I feel bad because I have like neighbors and stuff, and of course my garage, the way the places are organized, like I share the garage wall with like another place, so I feel really bad. That was really loud, but it runs. That's like super exciting. I was really nervous that it wouldn't run. Like I said, I was scared that I was gonna need new spark plugs, but it seems to be working okay. I need to like let it sit for a while and run, but yeah, that was so loud. Hopefully if I turn the chokes off, it wouldn't be as loud, but I feel like it's gonna die if I turn the chokes off. Well, that's something we're gonna have to work on. So there we have it. The bike is finally up and running, and there is still some stuff to do, but yeah, I'm just so happy that it is finally running. Like literally, like I mentioned, I've had this bike for over 3 years, and I just kind of let it go to the wayside because of the fact that I had the Ducati and stuff, and I just started, whenever I would have money to put into it, I would use it for other stuff, or I just kind of started to feel like, well, if I have the Ducati, will I ever really ride this thing? But now that it is running, I've kind of like been more excited about it. So just a couple things left to do. I still got to figure out the clutch cable. Anytime I try to find a clutch cable, they're always too long. Obviously, this is not a stock setup for the Honda CB650. Usually the handlebars are a lot higher. This bike has clip-ons from I think a R3 bike, so a Yamaha R3. So the stock clutch cable link doesn't fit. I've ordered some other ones. They all seem to be too long as well. So I have to get that figured out. This stuff down here is still kind of loose. I need to tighten that all up. Brakes I actually already did. So that's already taken care of. But the last thing I think to do besides the clutch cable is to figure out something with this seat. This seat obviously does not fit on the bike. It does not go with this bike. But I do actually kind of like the way it looks, so maybe I'll kind of rig up something for it to fit. Hopefully I will get it on the road as soon as possible. Tires are also looking a little flat, so that's gotta be fixed. But anyway, guys, if you did enjoy today's video and you wanna see more content on this bike, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to get to 300 subs before the end of the year. I think I'm at 370 something now, so we got just like, if I can get one per day, I can make it to 300 before the end of the year. But seriously, all of you guys that have subscribed already, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me that you guys are enjoying the content, and stay subscribed for all of my content on 2 wheels, 4 wheels, or no wheels at all. Later.